As you've seen in this lesson and previous lessons, a bounding box appears around selected content. You can resize and rotate content using that bounding box, but you can also turn it off. Turning off the bounding box makes it so you can't resize or rotate content with the selection tool by dragging anywhere on the bounding box, but it makes it easier to drag and snap content. With the selection tool selected, if you don't have that already selected, click to select Unforgettable Beaches text. Move the pointer over the lower left corner of the selected group. If you were to drag right now, you would resize the content. So you see right there. Choose View, and then Hide Bounding Box. This command hides the bounding box for the group and all other artwork. Now you can't resize the group by dragging with the selection tool. Move the pointer over the lower left corner of the Learn More button and drag the group to the left until it's right there on your guide. And you'll see that, like if you're moving that, you should see it snap to it. I'm trying to get you to where you can see it. So once you do that, release the mouse button. If the group is not aligning to the guide, or in other words, it's not snapping and the pointer isn't changing, you need to zoom in closer. So if you can't see that, just zoom in. Let's try that, shall we? Let's move it away from it. All right, let's see if we can see a snap. Okay. Choose View and then Show Bounding Box. At times you may want to position things more precisely, relative either to other objects or to the artboard. You could use the alignment options like we did in Lesson 2. You can also use smart guides and transform options in the Properties panel to move objects to exact coordinates on the X and Y axes and control the positioning of objects relative to the edge of the artboard. Next, you'll add content to an artboard and position it precisely. Choose View, Fit All in Window. Now you can see all three artboards. Click in the blank artboard in the middle to make it the active one. Click to select the group of artwork with the Untouched Beauty text. That's this group right here. You may need to zoom in or out to see it. In the Transform section of the Properties panel, right over here, click the upper left point of the reference point locator. That's this right here, the upper left point. Change the X value to zero, and the Y value to 0, and press return. Look at there. The group of content is moved into the upper left corner of the active artboard. The points in the reference point locator map to the points of the bounding box for the selected content. For instance, in this case, the upper left reference point refers to the upper left point of the bounding box. Shift drag the lower right corner to make the selected artwork smaller. Make sure the pink rectangle in the background just fits on the artboard. Other artwork will hang off, and that's okay. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag it to where that fits. There you go. Choose Select and then Deselect so nothing is selected. So far in this book, you've scaled most content with the selection tools. In this part, you'll scale artwork using the Properties panel and use an option called Scale Strokes and Effects. If necessary, press Control minus or Command minus or to see half of the plant off of the bottom edge of the artboard. So you should be able to see this little plant right here. With the selection tool selected, click the selection tool. Drag across the plant shapes to select them. So we're going to drag across those. They're now selected. Press Command and plus if on a Mac, or Control and plus a few times to zoom in on them. Choose View and then go to Hide Edges. So you hide the inside edges. In the Properties panel, click the center reference point. So the center reference point is the one right there in the middle. And that's going to resize from the center. Ensure that the excuse me. Ensure that Maintain Width and Height Proportions is set. That's this thing right here. And type 40% in the width field. Oh, hang on. And that makes it less than half the size. Notice that the artwork is smaller, but the stem of the plant is still the same width. That's because it is a path with the stroke applied. Choose View, Show Edges, choose Edit, Undo Scale. In the Properties panel, click the More Options button. Select Scale and Stroke Effects. Make sure that's right there. Type 40% in the width field. %, and press Enter to decrease the size of the artwork. Now any strokes applied to any paths are scaled proportionally. There are many ways to rotate artwork, including methods that range from precise to more free-form rotation. In previous lessons, you learned that you could rotate selected content with the selection tool. In this part of the lesson, you'll rotate artwork using the Rotate tool. Choose View, Fit All in Window. With the selection tool selected, on the Unforgettable Beaches artboard, click to select the palm tree to the right of the van. That one right there. Choose View, Fit Artboard in Window. The palm tree would look better if it were rotated, giving it a more wind-blown look. You could rotate it with the selection tool and then drag it into place, but to save a step, you can rotate it with the Rotate tool around its bottom. Select the Rotate tool over here in the toolbar. That's this one right here. Move the pointer over the bottom of the tree trunk and click. Let's see, what are we doing? Click and release to set the point that the palm tree will rotate around. It looks like an aqua crosshairs and is called a reference point. Move the pointer anywhere over the palm tree and drag clockwise to give the tree a bit of a lean. So lean it a little bit, however much you want to, as long as you've leaned it. Making artwork bigger or smaller is relatively straightforward. Sometimes, however, you want to make multiple objects bigger or smaller together. Using the transform each command, objects you scale or rotate are done in place. They don't move, and they are all transformed at once using the same settings. Now you'll scale 3 clouds at one time. With the selection tool selected, Click to select one of the white clouds in the sky. Shift click the other two. So hold down the Shift key and click the other two. So now they should all be selected. Choose Object, Transform, and then Transform Each. The Transform Each dialog box opens with multiple options like scale, moving, rotation, and more. In the Transform Each dialog box, change the horizontal scale and vertical scale values to 70% and click OK. Each of the clouds is smaller and still in the same place. In other words, each cloud scaled individually from its center. Click File and then Save. And this would be a great place to end this video.